Hello, Steve-O.
You put me on. I didn't know you were gonna put me on.
I did. And you know what? You're in the back seat, son. I'm running the show.
Hands free.
Yeah, yeah. Good luck. So listen, we're gonna bring on Britt Happens, right?
Brit does happen.
Yes, it does. I came across, or she came across us when we were doing the long event, charity event with Maza. She reached out and said, "Hey, Gonzo, I want to be on your channel." And I said, "Well, that's great. I don't know how to do it. You have to talk to Steve." So she reached to producer Steve, and Britt Happens is going to be on the show in a few minutes. But I got Steve on here for more support.
You got this.
Let's go. All right. So, do you got anything to say, Steve, before I remove you? Attaboy.
uh no, I mean we just actually yeah. So well thanks again everybody for if you joined us last night. Um and of course thank you again for joining with Britt and Gonzo today. He's running the show. I'm just here for moral support. Tomorrow I believe Glaire's doing a 12-hour fundraiser. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if any of us will be able to join. Um, but add that to your watch list. Declare tomorrow, and that's all I got for you.
All right, buddy.
I
Thank you.
didn't actually expect to be free right now, but I am, so I'm gonna watch and enjoy.
I was hoping you'd be picking your
Got my
nose,
gear.
but yeah, you're walking it. All right, buddy. I'm going to bring her in later. All right, let's bring her in. Britt Happens. Now, she does a lot of lives, and she has a lot of good people that come on her show. So I'm going to bring her on, and she's going to say her little spiel about her channel, and we'll go from there. Let's go. Britt, there you
Hey,
go.
Gonzo, thanks so much for having me. I'm
You're
excited to
welcome.
be here.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show. We're going to represent both male and female, right?
That's right.
Exactly. So, Britt, you reached out to producer Steve or something like that, and our paths crossed, and here we are, right?
Here we are. Yeah, we had a pretty good chat on Maz's stream.
Yeah, we did. We connected well.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking? Just say between 25 and whatever.
Okay, I'm 31.
Wow. All right. So in your 31 years of walking this earth, your experiences with police officers has been what?
I think like a lot of us, there have been maybe some mixed experiences, but the majority of my experience with law enforcement and with military has been very good. So, I've seen some of the best people in law enforcement. There are some people who I came across in law enforcement that completely changed the trajectory of my life.
Right.
I mentioned, this is something I mentioned to you backstage, but I was not a great kid. I was not a great teenager. I've had a close call before with law enforcement where I was not making good decisions, and he would have been completely right to have taken me in that night with the rest of this crowd that I was running with. And he said to me, "Look, I've already got everybody, locked up in the back seat, but I just want to ask you how well you know these people, because you don't look like them, you don't act like them, you don't seem to be cut from the same cloth as these people that you're hanging out with." And I don't know if that's because of how I was raised or what, but I will admit they were definitely speaking to those law enforcement officers differently than I was.
Yeah.
So, and I was just honest with them about it. And, at the time I was in the throes of addiction, and, I told them everything that they wanted to know, which wasn't much. They just wanted to know kind of who I was and where I came from and how I knew these people. And they said, "I'll tell you what, if you can make me the promise that you'll pick better friends, we'll just send you home. We'll let you collect your stuff out of this van that you're riding in
Yeah.
and call for a ride. So this officer sat with me for over an hour while we waited for my ride. And that was the day that I decided to get clean. And it changed everything. It changed all my set of opportunities. Because again, he very well could have taken me in that night, and he decided to take a chance on me and, you know, have faith that I would make better choices. And I didn't want that to go to waste.
Yeah.
So
It's like Brian says at the end of our channel, our chat or streaming, make a difference in somebody's life. Right.
mhm.
And
Yes,
that,
and this officer did 100%.
and it's just not an officer, it's you, me, or whoever, right? Make a difference in somebody's life. Positive. So
Mhm. Absolutely. And that 100% happened for me. And, you know, I was always raised to respect law enforcement, but I definitely that night had a whole other level of respect for law enforcement after that. So I would definitely say that overall, when I'm asked about either law enforcement or military, anybody in uniform whose job it is to protect and serve us, my answer is it's been good experiences.
yeah, dang. You know, even when a police officer gets behind me, I still get the black and white scaries, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all do.
Yeah. Geez, something about that. But I want to ask you something, another question. Most of our followers that are following this Karen Reed case are women, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's a multifaceted reason. So, for one, there's definitely a segment of followers of this case that are big true crime buffs.
Right?
And that crowd alone, the majority of those people are women.
Yeah.
But the other part of this is there are a lot of things about the Karen Reed case that have been very eye-opening for me and for lots of other people, that shows perhaps a little bit of maybe disparity of how women go through the justice system, or perhaps just in this case, the way Karen has been railroaded
Yeah.
by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And much of it has had to do with the fact that she's a woman. I mean, just look at some of the things that Trooper Proctor
Mm-hmm.
openly said about her, not just to his family and friends. Okay,
Yeah.
Elizabeth, we saw your little statement. It wasn't just to his family and friends. He said that to his supervisors,
Yep.
to his
Yep.
bosses, and
Yep.
nobody spoke up and said, "Excuse me,
This is wrong.
we are this is wrong. We're doing this by the book. We're going to handle this professionally, and we're going to take this case where the evidence leads us." So none of this lingo. Okay.
Yeah.
He said things I won't even repeat. And
Yeah. No, it's
it was to his
disgraceful.
bosses.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, entirely.
And we touched on this yesterday, that it's not his first time doing this. How many other women did he pull over, or his group of friends that, well, give me your phone because I don't want you to call nobody, and they're thumbing through their pictures? That's
Right.
a big can of worms.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but this was before the warrant even came through, correct?
I believe so.
So he had no
They seized
business
it.
touching that phone.
Yeah. So, I mean, it could be, it has to happen right then and there, right? If you're going to seize her stuff, you can seize it, but you cannot manipulate it, right?
Correct.
Until you get that search warrant. Now, if he was doing that beforehand, that's another can of worms, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
he's
find
he's
myself
probably been doing this a long
surprised.
time.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
this is his first time getting caught. And I don't know if you remember this, Gonzo, but he said on the stand multiple times that he had a spotless record for 12 years. Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't tell us a whole lot. What your words and your actions were through this investigation tell us
he
a
lost
lot
all
more.
credibility. All credibility. You could tell me that you have a spotless record, but when that kind of information gets put out worldwide, I don't buy it. Not one bit.
Mhm. Yeah,
You know.
neither do I.
So
Neither do I.
he's not going to
See,
lose his job until this case is over, because
Probably
he is
not.
going to lose his job. Yeah.
They're at least kicking the can down the street, so to speak, because I think it would look worse for the Commonwealth if it came out in open court that Proctor lost his job because of how he handled the John O'Keefe investigation.
Yeah. Well, he's the lead investigator. What does that tell you if he loses
Yes.
his job, right? If that's the case, throw the case out, right? Because everything's been tampered with, corrupted with. There is no chain of custody for any evidence. And that's crucial when you're doing an investigation like this, especially a murder case, right? Because you don't want any evidence to be tampered with or have any question when it comes out to in court, right? Because it needs to be an airtight case. This is not airtight. It's like a sponge. It's got holes everywhere.
It does. And that's honestly the majority of the reason I've started speaking out about this case and others that are in conjunction with it. Sandra Birchmore, there are plenty of other cases where either there's the same investigators or something similar has happened. So what I see here is a complete lack of respect for the procedural due process that's guaranteed to all of us by the Constitution. The people who insist, hey, none of this incompetence, none of this lack of ethics, none of this completely immoral way of approaching the entire case for some of the investigators. Yes. None of that matters. She still did it. She still deserves to go to prison. That's not true. Now, I am not of the belief that Karen Reed actually did it, but I am of the belief that even if she did, this investigation was so botched, the trial was so botched, that even if she did do it, the way that our justice system is supposed to look at every defendant is it's better that 10 guilty people walk than that one innocent person suffers.
Yeah.
So, even if she did do it, because of the way that the Commonwealth handled their business, should have walked. I've seen guiltier people walk for less of a technicality.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they're really going through this with a fine-tooth comb, right? But even if Karen did run into him, that didn't kill him. That's where I have the problem.
No, it did not. It's very difficult to kill somebody at that speed.
Well, I did a graph that came from the FBI, I think. If you get an impact of 25 miles an hour or less, your chance of dying of surviving is like 95%.
Wow.
So
95%.
Yep.
That's incredible. And, on top of that, you have the complete lack of injuries south of his noggin. But at the same time, am I frozen on one side of the screen?
Yeah, it looks like that.
Let me remove myself real quick and come right back.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
That's all right.
1 second.
Steve, what did I do?
Good thing I wasn't picking my nose.
I'm the
Let me
problem.
add her back. Nope. I don't know what happened. Technical difficulties.
I was going to throw a poll in the chat, but I didn't know what to ask everybody.
Yeah, let me see if she's back in. Nope, that's not a good picture. I don't know, man. What happened? You had to restart her camera. All right. If that was
Why aren't
Brian,
men-
Brian says 2025 can't get internets.
Yeah, whenever he's at the studio, he has a bad connection. Whenever he's at home, he has a bad connection.
Yeah.
I'm beginning
Poor
to
guy.
think
It might be his phone.
could be his phone. But talking about true crime and why it's more women
Yeah.
watching. I saw a couple things in the chat. There's this one here. It says, "Why aren't men interested?" I think they are, but I do know that like I have a lot of interests, and I try to like I just got a drone, and I've got the FPV, and you look like a nerd, but it's really cool flying this thing around. And I asked my wife, "Hey, do you want to fly it?" She's like, "I have no interest. We just like different things as men and women." What?
I heard you say
Got that.
she wants to. Try
Okay,
it. Like
we
what?
got you.
The drone.
No.
All right, Steve-O, we're back in action.
Okay. So,
But thanks for your input.
Sorry about that. My my camera completely froze, and I just left and changed the camera and came back.
Well, you're back at it now. So I guess
Yeah, my apologies.
No, it's okay. Technical difficulties happens in my brain all the time.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I've learned that with YouTube, especially. I've done other platforms in the past, TikTok and stuff like that, but you know, this particular platform, YouTube, it's very finicky.
yeah, for sure. Let me ask you, how do you think Karen Reed 2.0 is going to go? I mean, they're slinging everything at the wall to see what sticks. I think they're just doing it to muddy
Yes.
the water, to make it more confusing for the jury. Now, this has been going on for 3 years. There's not too many people that don't know what's going on both sides of the fence, right? She's guilty, she's not.
Right.
How are they going to find a jury that's going to walk the line? That's the question.
That's going to be difficult. Yeah, without a change of venue, that will be a difficult thing to do, to find a jury who's completely impartial, because you're not going to find 12 jurors who have not heard of this case.
Yep.
Not in Norfolk County, Massachusetts.
Yep.
So unless there's tampering with the jury, which there have already been allegations of that happening in the first trial, that's going to be interesting. As far as what is presented to the jury, you're right. I think what we're going to see is going to be very different from the first trial. What I saw more of in the first trial was a facade of incompetence.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I do believe that they're
everybody.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay.
I was going to say,
I don't believe that everything. I don't believe everybody is as incompetent as they looked in the first trial. I mean, Gallagher, for example, he's been on the force 30 years. And he's been on the force in Massachusetts. He knows how to conduct a death investigation in the wintertime, in the snow.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, you don't become a police lieutenant and not know what to do with a body in the snow.
Well, when they ask Proctor, how many fatalities, car and pedestrian fatalities have you been to? And he says, I can't remember. I'm not sure. Bullshit. I can tell you.
Yeah, you like tally it, right?
Yeah. They stick in your head. You don't forget them. And you know how to process the scene. You know the steps because you're trained from day one in the academy. You go on your reports, you go from left to right, top to bottom. and everything's checked.
Right.
You don't skip anything, right? And after a while, it's muscle memory. You just know how to
Right.
do it, right? You don't
Right.
take any shortcuts, because you take shortcuts, you lose stuff. Right.
Exactly.
So,
And you're right. You pretty much do it in your sleep.
yeah. And I think this next 2.0, there's going to be a lot more visual aids, right? Because people learn or remember things when they see things in actuality, right? Not a graph on the board, but if you actually see a car or see whatever, it sticks in your brain. So I think there's going to be a lot more visual aid for the jury, and that's going to make a big difference. And the key here, if ARCA is allowed to do their presentation, now remember, they've had access to a lot more information now, because the FBI is not restricting it. If they're allowed to use all the information, it's not going to go past that, because once they show that he did not die from this type of impact, what's the case going? What's the prosecution going to go? Exactly.
Yeah, completely game over. But what I do think we will see more of, on top of more visual aids, is kind of like what you already said with trying to confuse the jury, because Hank Brennan has had a completely different approach with how he presents information, or should I say present or misrepresents information.
Represents, because he'll say stuff that is not even relevant, but he gets it out.
Or true.
Right.
Right.
But he gets it out, and Bev's like, what page was that on? Right. Oh, I'll get it to you. Right. But he speculates so much, it's not even funny.
I think it says a lot as well. And I hope the jury is made aware of this if they're not already aware of it. But I hope that they are able to know that Brennan was an outside hire. That the Norfolk County wouldn't even utilize I don't know how many ADAs they have, but it's got to be 10 or more, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
So you have all these prosecutors at your beck and call that are already on salary. The taxpayers are already,
flipping the bill for
paying
it.
them. Yeah. Yep. But no, now you, as the taxpayer, are paying more, north of $100,000 now, probably going to go past 200.
Yep.
For this outside hire, because why? And I wonder if that's why they intend to put Morrissey on the stand.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was talking to Brian yesterday. If they're going to bring him on there, I think it would be a good move. The problem is trying to persuade Bev, Auntie Bev, that he spilled the beans on the information that he shouldn't have, which violates his position.
Right.
So that's the problem. If Bev says no, he's not going on there, well, there you go. He's being protected again.
Yeah, I've done a lot of digging on Morrissey in over the past few months, and out of every player in all this, he is by far the most questionable guy. I would put him above Proctor.
He's got a lot of power.
He does, and he abuses it. And how this is legal in Massachusetts is beyond me, but the police unions, going back decades, have been contributing to his campaigns.
Yeah. Well,
how is that even legal? It's definitely unethical.
Money buys convictions.
Yeah. And it also gets you a get out of jail free card.
Gives you protection. Yep.
Correct. So if cops get their hands dirty, but they're making donations to the DA, of course the DA is going to decline to prosecute you. Because you're scratching his back, so he's going to scratch yours.
I think a perfect example of that is it's going on right now with the Sandra Birchmore and Enrique, right?
Yeah.
Those things, and especially Enrique, It's been 6 months
Mhm.
and we haven't heard nothing, no transparency, nothing like that. So we'll see what that turns out pretty soon. Brian's doing some digging on that. He should come up with some good information here shortly.
Hope so. On Enrique
Yeah,
or on
he's a big
Birchmore?
advocate. Enrique,
Yeah, good.
he's doing a lot of good work.
Good. Yeah. Brian LTL or your Brian?
Yeah, Brian LTL.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of his stuff. I'm glad to see somebody advocating for that family because they, when anytime you have a language barrier, that already makes it so much more difficult to advocate for yourself.
Which,
And
I don't understand how there is a language barrier, right? Here in Vegas, we have all countries, all nations that live here.
Florida. Yep.
Exactly. Right. So
Yep.
when we have interaction with a non-English person and we don't have a translator on our squad or a person that can speak that language, we call the helpline, the language line, right? And which is a program that we have, but we'll say, Portuguese. Then they'll get somebody who speaks Portuguese and we'll give them the phone, right? Or we'll put it on speaker, whatever the case may be. But that never happens here. We have all languages. It's crazy.
Wow.
So
it's
again,
wild
it's not
to me.
apples to apples.
Yeah, like why wouldn't they invest in those kinds of resources? Why
That's a
not
good
invest in
question.
body cameras?
That's a good question.
They still haven't done body cams in Canton. They, anytime they have some kind of budget surplus or they're asking for more money, it's for a new kitchen, a better break room at the office, or some kind of mobile firing range.
I think what's going to happen this next round of elections is going to be some changes, right? Especially if
definitely
all the money that's being spent to pay salaries, and this is the type of work that you're paying for, I want a refund,
Oh, definitely.
So you got a show
especially
coming up.
Chief Rafferty.
Yeah, exactly. You have a show coming up with a new, would that be a social media person or a TikToker?
Yes. Are you, I think you're referring to Miss McKinney.
Yes.
So Miss McKinney Esquire, if none of your viewers have heard of her, she is just the most refreshing person. So a couple weeks ago, she decided that she was going to watch the Karen Reed trial. She wasn't going to read any court documents, no articles. She was just going to go in fresh and watch the trial from beginning to end. Just a regular spectator like you or me. And
I bet you was surprised.
Oh, right. And so every other day, she would do, a couple minutes of just her giving a reaction to what she was seeing. And you can see the progression of her emotions taking place from the beginning to the end of the trial. It's very, very interesting. And, she's also an attorney out of Michigan. She and I have shared some words about her coming on to the show. We haven't set a date yet, but I definitely wanted to get people who maybe don't have TikTok, because all of her content is on TikTok. Maybe if they don't have TikTok, or maybe if they hadn't heard of her, I wanted to give everybody a chance to see her entire journey from beginning to end of watching the Karen Reed trial. It's very, there are times that you're going to laugh. There are times that you're going to, yell at the screen. And there are times that you almost feel like you're reliving your own process of finding out about this case. So, before I had her on, I wanted to make sure everybody got a good background on Miss McKinney. So I'll be doing that later this afternoon.
Yeah, we'll direct our people over there as well. Get a catch on that.
Great.
It's
Yeah,
gonna be
it'll be at
interesting.
3
Okay.
Eastern.
3 Eastern? Okay. So
Mhm.
she's a neutral person, doesn't know anything about the case, but she
Mhm.
rode the roller coaster ride, and this
Right.
is where she's at now, right? Yeah. This
Firmly on the side of free Karen Reed were her exact words.
man, I'm telling you, I just don't see how people can't digest what's going on with this case.
Mhm.
From the law perspective, they effed up
Mhm.
on everything,
Right.
everything, right?
It's
Now,
frightening.
it is because that's basic policing 101.
Mhm.
It's standard stuff, what you do, but they didn't do any of the standard stuff, not even the basics, right?
No.
So that's why Brian and I jumped on this because we saw the inconsistencies of a shitty police work, right? And
Yeah,
it goes all the way up the chain,
it
right?
does.
So if the axe is going to fall, it's going to go from the top down, clean it
Mhm.
out, right? So
Hope
I don't
so.
know. I'm curious to see. There's so many motions that they're pushing out that it's hard to keep track of all that information. Our people on chat, when we respond to the messages, they enlighten us and tell us
Mhm.
what things mean, right? So it
Yeah.
helps us out. But there's a lot of people out there that really break those motions down and explain that they do have weight, they don't have weight. Uh, Attorney Miss Little, you got the lawyer, all those
Yeah.
people that break it down and help us. I don't want to say, I'll call myself a simpleton, right? Because it's things to soak into my head. But once I understand it,
Like,
I see it, right?
exactly.
I don't know.
It's helpful to have so many different perspectives and yourself as well, you and Brian. So having the two of you
Yeah.
in the community with the background and expertise that you have as former law enforcement is a whole other element that helps lay people
Yeah.
break this down. When we first started hearing of things like the solo cups
Yeah.
and the stop and shop bags. Oh yeah, I keep everything. I've got the post-it notes from Chief Rafferty. I have all kinds of props in my little
It
streaming
they
area.
they came across like that was standard operating procedure.
Exactly.
Like they had
Exactly. They were
no,
trying to just brush this past us like it happened every day.
yeah, like it's a normal day. That's how you collect evidence. Wow.
Sure. So, hearing you and Brian say, "Oh no, we would have gotten a boot in the ass for
We would have.
for doing something like that." I mean, even 20 years ago when there wasn't as much technology as there is now, we would have never done something like that.
Yeah.
And no cop who can rub two brain cells together would have done it that way.
Well, these guys,
So, it helped us.
I don't think these guys have two brain cells amongst all of them. It's just
Probably not.
bizarre to me how
Probably not.
this happened. So, what do you want to see in 2.0? What would you like to see? Who would you like to see on the stand again?
Again?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's obviously Arca needs to come back.
Mhm.
That's a must for me. Um, Other things I've been hoping for are not necessarily people that I, want to see brought back as much as I want to see them cross-examined. Like
You want to see
Barros,
them
for
perjure
example. He's
themselves.
right. Yes, yes. I want to see Barros again. Barros
Hmm.
is the one who was the Dighton officer who assisted in taking possession of Karen Reed's vehicle. And he specifically testified that the taillight in question did not seem completely damaged. It was just cracked, remember?
Yep.
He wasn't cross-examined. So what I would have done if I had an Esquire behind my name, if I were in a courtroom, I would have shown a picture of Karen Reed's taillight in the Sally port, the one where it's completely obliterated, and said, did it look like this when you picked it up?
Yep.
Did it look like this? Yes or no? If he said no, that would have been game over.
Yeah. I just don't
That
understand.
would have been it. Karen would have been acquitted.
Well, I don't get why they would invert the video, right?
Right. I mean,
If that doesn't tell you,
I can tell you
something shitty about
Yeah, definitely. It stinks to
nothing
high
to
hell.
see here. Nothing to see here.
Not at all. I mean, what they were doing was they were trying to show that, and this is what's so funny to me. And Hank's running out of time to prove his actual case. He's spending more time trying to disprove the defense's theory than he is proving his own theory. But
Yep.
you know, the inverted Sallyport video was a foiled attempt
Yeah.
to show that there wasn't any evidence tampering. Well, why did you feel that you need to do that? Because you don't have a chain of custody. You took no pictures when you took possession of the car. In fact, you lied in your report about when you took the car. That was the moment for me when I knew that she was innocent when I first got into it. Because like you know, I'm not from Massachusetts, so I wasn't hearing about this from day one. I came onto this case in like May. So when I heard that Trooper Proctor said in his report that he took that car after 5 p.m. and it was just after 4 when he took the car,
Yeah.
I knew we had a problem. I knew we had a significant problem. So,
correct.
I'm not necessarily hoping for like certain witnesses. I'm just hoping that the defense kind of like what you mentioned, breaks it down for the jury in a way that makes it an effortless acquittal for them.
Yeah. Let me bring Steve in here real quick. Hey, Steve.
Hey, no
Do you know
warning.
that video
Hey, Steve.
that showed the guy smashing the taillight?
Yeah.
Can you pop that on?
Can I put it on?
Be in trouble 13, I think is his username.
I can't right now. I'm only on my iPad. I need to get to the computer. So if you give me a
No.
couple minutes, I can get that set up.
I got you. Here, I got you. I can do it.
You're getting replaced, Steve. Adios.
Producer Britt. Gonzo, keep an eye on those chats. There's a couple good ones you could pop on.
Don't tell me what to do. I'm running the show.
You just got a super chat, so get on it.
Okay. Let me see. Bye.
Oh yeah, you got to check your super chats.
Well, let's see. Here we go. Badoosh. Mary Pat, love all the shows. Great work, and thank you. You all for making a difference. Yeah, that's right. One step at a time. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. So now you click on this.
So
ad.
Gonzo, yep, there it is. Yep.
All right,
and then when you're ready, just tell me when to play it and I'll play it.
So let me say this. I've watched this for the first time yesterday, right? The guy's breaking the Lexus with a hammer. Now, let me point out that he's using direct blow impact, right? That means the point of the hammer is making impact with the tail light. Okay. It's very direct. Okay. And it's going to take not very much pressure to break because it's very isolated, right? Now, if you're talking a body part hitting that tail light, it has to be direct, like the tip of the elbow, right? But if it's the arm, it's going to have more mass distribute the impact force. So it's going to probably break in bigger pieces, not in tiny pieces. Okay. Roll it. Britt.
Completely correct. And it would have caused bruising.
Yep.
All right, I'm playing it now.
All right. Uh-oh.
I don't think I'm going to be able to smash it out.
You hit that hard.
Yeah.
That's with the hammer.
And that's an OEM
How thick
Yep.
this thing is.
2021 Lexus LX 570 taillight.
Yep. That's
These
insane.
taillights are extremely thick.
Now they're going to be a little bit more fragile when it's below zero, right? Everything is, but that's just going to make it. When she backed into John O'Keefe's car, it cracked it, right?
Yes.
If it's already cracked and then you impact it, it's not going to shatter. It's just going to finish breaking into bigger pieces, just like this guy here.
Right.
This one was already busted. That's why it was
Easy.
easy to shatter
Yep.
with the hammer.
Yep.
There are a couple people, Gonzo, saying that he put out a new video
This
today
is a genuine
Oh, he did,
showing
huh?
the arm.
LX 570 from a 2021.
Interesting. Let's see here.
If you just pull it off, that's how you get the big piece.
Hey, Brian.
Brian LTL. The dude.
Just see
Love him.
what color it lights up as. All the red.
Yeah,
is
see
gone.
these don't have normal old school bulbs. They're all LEDs,
Right.
right? So
Right.
they're already designed
I hate driving
to
in
be
front of them.
either all right,
There's
they're gonna
no
be either
red on this
yellow,
taillight
red,
anymore.
or white.
Even the side marker light is so bright that it looks white. But you can clearly see it's red.
Mm-hmm.
All the lights are red. That's the brake light. They're just so bright red that it's clearly red. Let's see what
Wow.
happens when you smash the diffuser. I don't want to take a chance of shorting anything out.
You can pressure break that thing.
Yeah. And
I can't-
I'm going to pause this for a second.
Yeah.
Remember, Gonzo, on the inside of the housing where there's bare metal, there are scrape marks
Really?
on there. Let me
Done
pull
by
up
like a
still
screwdriver.
shot. Exactly. Like maybe it came from a screwdriver or a crowbar or something.
Huh.
I'm going to pull up a still shot of the taillight for you. Give me just a second. Oh, come on, Jesus.
Don't be cussing like a sailor now.
Where's the photo of it in the Sally port? Here we go. All right, I'm going to share this screen with you now.
Okay, so what do I do when you say share? Oh,
1 second.
oh, I got you.
There we go. So now, yep, there you go. So let me zoom in on this metal housing here.
Yeah, I see this. Yeah. Interesting.
An arm wouldn't cause that.
That looks like it's
Gonzo.
pried backwards. Yeah. Internet
So
detectives, I'm telling you.
Yes. I love how much everybody has, kind of come together and figured a lot of this out.
Well, when you have more eyes on a situation, you pick up certain details, right? So when we go to a crime scene and we do the initial sweep, right? Myself, I go, Brian, take a walk, see what you think, see what you see, right? He'll come back out, we'll compare notes, right? We pick up differences between both, right? And we get that information and we give that to our CI techs. Hey, this is what we saw. Then they run with it with the detectives. You know, so the
I
more
hear
eyes you have it, the on it, the better. And this is what's happening with this case, especially with more information gets put out to social media where everybody can have access to it. And people out there have more brains on being able to break things down with computer systems and algorithms and zoom in, zoom out. They can see a lot more than you and I can do. Right.
Right.
So I'm happy that people are out there doing it.
I mean, this is definitely a case that is too big for one brain, one, just one attorney, one set of eyes, anything like that. So,
Says,
what do we have here?
Hey Gonzo, how often are 99% of the tail lights? Well, let me tell you. Not very often. Especially here in Vegas, because when there's an accident and there's debris everywhere and we're not there fast enough, there's cars that are going by and destroying more evidence, right? So some of that stuff might not even be recovered, right? We can try to recover as much as we can. That's why we block off the street, especially if it's a fatal, right? Fatal comes out, they start picking up everything, putting everything together to make their case stand, right? But we try to collect as much evidence as we can, or at least mark it, right? Because you just don't know what that piece of evidence entails. It could have DNA, it could have skin, hair, whatever. But we do collect a great portion of it.
So one question I would have for you then is...
Stand by, Britt. Stand by, Britt.
Okay.
You ready for this? Badoosh.
Hey.
Holy macaroni. I was expecting a tuxedo today.
No, I'm at home. Just sat down. I've been writing a 6-month write-up on Trooper Enrique Delgado Garcia.
Yeah.
And I had to, so I haven't been writing lately, and I'm like, that's something I have to get back to doing. So I just got back from my buddy, just had a grand opening. He's opened a new reptile store here in our town. So I went over to support him. He had a grand opening yesterday. I couldn't make it, but I went over today and picked up a t-shirt. And if anybody needs reptiles in Massachusetts, check out Showcase Reptiles.
Wow.
My shameless plug.
I've got a python. I'm
disappointed. It wasn't named Hanky Snaky's place.
It should have been, right? But yeah, I mean, the best, cleanest reptile store around. Again, if anybody's looking, that's the address, the phone number. You can give them a call. My shameless plug. But yeah, no, I was watching the taillight video again, and I find it all very interesting. It's just not possible. It's not possible. With John's injuries, no lower body injuries, it just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
And you know what's so wild to me is that they know this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
They know themselves. They know that we know better, and they don't give a darn. They're happy to just wave it in the face of the public. And like with Trooper Garcia, none of his injuries seem to make sense either.
Yeah.
And they haven't said a word. And they know that with every passing day, their PR is suffering.
Yeah.
And they don't care.
Brian and
Spend
I
it
were
all.
talking about, sorry about that, Britt, but we were talking about it. Those injuries aren't consistent with an accident,
Mm-mm.
right? If they're calling it an accident, there's no way that could happen, right? The same way as John O'Keefe, they're saying that he was killed by Karen Reed backing up to him. Those injuries
Mhm.
don't justify the charge, right?
Well,
So
if you take the cylindrical end of a police baton and jab somebody with it,
yeah,
do you, Gonzo, think it would perhaps create some similar bruises to what was on Enrique Delgado Garcia's body?
you're talking like a jab, right? At the
Correct.
tip of the baton.
Right. Like
It
maybe
would
at a
be-
blanket party or something.
It would be more, there'd be bruising for sure, right? It'd be more of a pinpoint bruise, right? It wouldn't be a big bruise. It'd be
Right.
a real sharp bruise at the and
Yeah.
then would go
Swollen
out.
diameter.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
And that
Now-
was all over him.
Well, remember when LA had that beat down of the, what was that guy's name?
Rodney King?
Rodney
Rodney
King,
King.
yeah. And they were beating him with a baton, hitting him full force. He didn't have any broken bones, if I remember. Might be a wrist or a forearm, but they were hitting him on the shin, right?
Ooh.
Did you ever see those pictures? His legs were black and blue,
Yeah.
Yes.
and he had contusions that were, raising like a half inch, an inch and a half. So those are full force impacts. Okay.
It's not from boxing. That's for sure.
Not from boxing, but could it have been a fight that occurred outside the ring? It's possible, because when I went through the academy, our tax staff would go inside, leave the boxing gloves, all the gear outside, and they'd tell us, if you guys want to practice, but only go 50%. Right. So we'd strap on the
Right.
gloves, the headgear, the groin gear protection, and we just jab. No supervision, but we had other officers there to intervene if it got heavy. Could this have happened with Enrique? Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I think that's been the most frustrating thing in all of this, is that, there hasn't been, any information. I've had people, leak stuff to me, and, you got to really make sure you're vetting it correctly, and what is real and what is not real. And, I think that's just been the biggest frustration in this thing, is that no one's really cracked. No one's said anything. The family has been increasingly patient with this whole thing. And I think, I think we are getting we're going to get somewhere, I think, at some point. I mean, you look at the 3 senators that wrote the open letter to the attorney general saying, hey, like, what's going on? Excuse me. I feel more confident now in the special investigator, David Meyer, and, the team that he's brought in, that they're all independent and they're not of any entity of the Mass State Police, which
That's
gives
good.
some more credence to this and gives some more credibility. I think it's just going to be time. You got to think that class was big. They're probably doing interviews. You have some ex-FBI agents that are looking this over, creating a file. What happens when people get interviewed and they're in a serious situation? Some of them probably have attorneys, so you're beating through all that red tape too.
Yep.
That
adds to the time. Yep.
You guys have union reps and all that too, so I'm sure that's all involved. So it's, is it a cover up? I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. But I sure as hell wish we had something sooner. And I'm gearing up to do something here pretty soon to raise some more awareness about it. Give me a couple more weeks once the weather gets a little bit warmer, and we're gonna do something here. It's gonna be big.
Great.
What's your gut tell you, Ryan?
My gut, I just look at Enrique's comments. He made a comment to his family. It was an article that I read that, he felt that it was the most brutal hazing environment that he has ever been in. And he constantly said that when he went back to see his family on the weekends. So I don't know if this is something is this a beef he had with classmates and they ganged on him, or did something, in this boxing training exercise get out of hand and someone took the opportunity to pummel him? I don't know. Is it something that was, at the DI's hands that did this to him? Quite possibly. But there's a lot of variables in there, from all different ways that we look at this. There's variables in all of it. But I do like the fact that, some of our state representatives are standing up now and they're going, all right, let's start getting some answers here.
Let me ask you guys both a question here. Have you ever been hazed or bullied?
100%. 100%.
How'd you deal with it?
I punched him.
Exactly. Right? You defend yourself.
Yeah.
Right? If there's some type of hazing, now listen, when you're in an academy, okay, was there another academy going on at the same time, or is it just one academy with Enrique?
I think it's one
right?
academy. Yeah,
Okay.
just one academy, one class.
So for us, we could have 3 squads going through the academy, all staggered, right? Different phases of learning. Okay. The top dogs have the most respect because they've got the experience, right? Like I was telling you, Brian, if they're coming through the hallway, we hit the wall. We give them the whole hallway, but there's no malicious hazing. There's no, hey, you guys suck. You guys got to really earn your way through here. We're all in it to win it for one mission, to be a cop, right? So there's support. Hey, don't worry about the tax staff. They're hard on you guys for a reason, but it's never malicious. They want you to evolve and become a unit together, right? If one of you does push-ups, everybody does push-ups. It's just to show unity, right? But never malicious hazing that I went through. And Brian, same thing. So might be very unique to the troopers. Especially, Brian, I think you said it's hazing was going on for a while, even before their academies.
Yeah, I mean, Mass State Police Academy, especially in New Braintree, has kind of a history of this. Go back and look. I think it's 2013. They got nabbed really bad for an incident that was called the bear crawl, and they made these cadets on their hands and knees across very hot pavement during the summer. And there's just other things that have gone on up there too. I've heard a lot of reports of hazing, and but it needs to be cleaned up. And the thing that's really kind of ticked me off in all of this is we had this new colonel that came in that is the appointee from Maura Healey, and he's he makes the statements, we're going to make sure that the Mass State Police is held accountable and transparency, and we're not getting any of that. I mean, we just had a new facility down in East Falmouth shut down because of hazing, and 2 highest officials in that facility lost their jobs. So it's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I also found the statement from that former military gentleman. His name escapes me right now, but who was in the academy with Enrique.
Yeah.
Yes. And Enrique ended up being the one to drive him home. Yeah. And he was going through it so bad. And this guy had military experience. And he was going through it so bad at the MSP Academy that he had to go home.
Well, our academy was paramilitary style, right? And that's done for a purpose, right? To break you down a little bit, break down a lot,
right?
But not maliciously, right? They break you down so you can be part of a team, part of a unit, right? So that's how the mental thinking of it, of being a paramilitary academy. And there's nothing wrong with that, because it really does unite you, because you're all going through the shit at the
Yeah.
same time, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So, Britt, when you were bullied, what did you do?
Well, first, let me say that bullying
You were a
coming
bully.
from other
You were a
females,
bully.
right? No. Bullying coming from other females sometimes happens
Mm-hmm.
in a different way than it does coming from males. I've personally been, kind of broken down by both. I handle each differently. If it's coming from more of the female side, I just keep my nose to the grindstone and hope it goes away. Because what they're trying to do is trying to get you to do something to embarrass yourself a lot of the time,
Yeah.
right? So if I'm getting bullied by a female, I just keep my head down and wait for it to pass over. If it gets out of hand, I'll bring someone else into the situation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if it's coming from a male, the reason they're doing that is because they feel small, right? So what you need to do is, kind of bring your shoulders back and not allow them to make themselves feel bigger by picking on you and making you look like the small and weak one, right?
Right. Right.
So, yeah, if it's coming from if it's coming from a male, I always say, stand your ground.
Yeah, for sure. When I grew up in the mean streets of Idaho, right? Population 2,300.
Idaho.
Yep. I was one of 3 Hispanic families that lived there. We had
Okay.
no other races. We might have had some Asians, but not very many, right? So growing up in Idaho, I was bullied because, first of all, I was shorter than everybody else, Hispanic, and my language barrier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was bullied through all my younger years. But when we started going into 7th grade, I let my abilities and the person who I am win people over, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what they would say, what they would do to me, whatever the case may be. I would shrug it off and just be a good person and be a good athlete, right?
Yep.
If you're a good athlete in a small town, forget about it. You got the key
You're
to
the
the city.
celebrity now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I really focused on winning them over with being who I am. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Super respectful, because that's what my mom and dad told me, right?
Mhm.
Be good to the people you want to be good to, and be good to the people you don't want to be good to, right?
Right.
So I did that. Even though I lived it, I walked it, it cultured me and becoming who I am today, right?
Great.
So it's
Yeah,
how
I
you
mean,
do it.
I said yesterday when I was on with you, Gons, that I've always taken pride in when people tell me that I can't do something, and then I
Mhm.
show them that I can, and I
Mhm.
do it better than their expectation.
Yep.
And I love doing that stuff, and I think it's amazing, like where we all come from, and how everybody watching the stream or anybody that might come back on a replay has probably all had similar stories to ourselves. That growing up, probably being, picked on or bullied. We all go through that in some time, some portion of our life.
Mhm.
But it's what you take from that experience and learn from it. Like, I don't want to be like that person, and you grow from that. And just make sure that you pass on that wisdom as you get older, and give it back, let people know what to do in those certain situations. Back then I think you could pop someone and you get away
Mhm.
with it. Now you pop someone, it's assault, and your name's dragged all over the internet. And I get it, but I've
Yeah, it's a
always
different world.
taken pride in like stuff like that. And then it's funny when you run into the person that bullied you and you're bigger than them, or whatever it may be, and I'm like, really? I was afraid of that person?
Yeah.
Like,
Have you had somebody who used to pick on you reach out to you on Facebook or something? Like they find you 15 years down the road and then ask you to hang out with them or just want to catch up and see how
Yeah.
you're doing, as though they completely forgot. I've always
Yeah.
found that hysterical.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had a few friends reach out to me, and they're reaching out to me from jail or prison.
Oh.
Can't help you, buddy.
Yeah. What am I going to do?
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
When I turned 40, I kind of went through this thing where, like I reached out to some people and just let them know, like, hey, you know, like when I was a kid and we hung out, like you were a little bit older, and I just wanted to let you know that like I admired like who you were and what you did, because we looked up to you, you know, and just let those people know that like you made an impact in my life. And you know, I think it's always good to do that too, and just let people know good things that they you know, they did for you. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, what do you want to talk about, Brian? You got anything coming up that you want to throw out there? You good?
No, I'm sorry to hijack the show. Steve was like, "Hey, if you want to jump in really quick, come hang out." I'm gonna get back to work. Yeah, I'm gonna get back to work here and finish my day. I'm having dinner with my mom at 5, my pre-birthday dinner. So she's cooking, and we're gonna go hang out and do kind of mom and son stuff. And then tonight I'm gonna be live at 8:30 p.m. We're going to go over Trooper Paul's testimony, the hilarious testimony of Trooper Paul. We're going to try to raise some money for Karen tonight. And then tomorrow, I have a friend of mine, Lauren DC,
Thanks,
will
Brian.
be live in the studio. We're going to go through some more testimony. I've been kind of gearing up for part 2, but I dropped a link in the chat. If anybody wants to follow Enrique's timeline, I have a Google Sheets that I constantly update with new information. So please click on that, save it in your browser. You can go back and reference that. And it is all good, vetted information, either via articles or experts or, you know, sources that I can put receipts out there. And we're going to keep raising awareness for Enrique. So Britt, I think this is the first time that we've gotten to talk. So nice to meet you, by the way.
Yeah, very nice to meet you, and happy early birthday. And I just want to commend you for all that you've done to shed as much light as possible, even if it's not much, on Enrique Delgado Garcia especially, but on all the cases in Massachusetts for sure. And just to piggyback off of what you said, when you have an investigation that is not independent, do you really believe that somebody who has an incentive to keep something from coming out of the light is really going to do a thorough investigation? And furthermore, are they going to share those findings? I mean, it's so important that this is investigated independently. So I'm very glad that we're possibly going to see some real findings, you know, something that isn't immediately a bunch of bogus. I mean, I remember when the MSP put out his official COD as illness.
Yeah.
I about threw up on the floor.
Really?
I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for all that you've done to get the wheels turning with this.
Yeah, my close sources just say hang in there. So I can trust that. I can trust those sources. We're hanging in here, but we can keep, you know, banging the battle, rattling in the cage, putting up signs, whatever we need to do to keep raising awareness and put some pressure on this and keep it out there. So Gons, thank you so much for letting me jump on. Steve, thank you for letting me jump on. And Britt, it's nice to meet you. We should do something soon. Reach out to me on Twitter and we'll put something together.
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome on my show too, anytime.
Cool.
Next week on the Love Connection, we'll try to connect to other people here. Good Lord.
And thank you all for the happy birthdays. I appreciate it. All right, guys,
Thanks,
have
Brian.
a great show. It's nice seeing you all.
Take it
Later,
easy,
buddy.
Brian. Nice to meet you.
Peace, bud.
Bye-bye.
God
Well,
dang.
We met one Brian today.
Yeah, perfect. Brittany, how do you want to send this out? You want to close out with anything you want to say?
Not particularly. Just to kind of let y'all know some of what's coming. Oh, hey, Steve.
I thought I had control of this
Sorry to you do, but I do too. Sorry to interrupt, but you got a couple supers. I just wanted to make sure that you saw Gonzo.
Go ahead.
Cut. No, I'm just letting you know they're there from
Okay.
LTL and Motions. Just click over to your starred chat and you'll see
yeah.
them then.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Guys, can we give Gonzo a round of applause for how he has done today? This is run
you very
so
much.
smoothly.
Thank you.
Britt, thank you for joining us. It's nice to meet you.
Absolutely.
I'm
Thank you for having
gonna
me.
get out of here. You're more than welcome. I'm sure we'll see you again. Wait, where are you? Florida?
I am in Florida. Yes, sir.
Okay. You ever come to Vegas?
I'd love to.
Well, if you do, let us know and we'll work something out.
Yeah, I've been a couple times. I'd love to go again. I'll let you know.
All right. Great to meet you, and I'll see you when I see you.
You guys too. Take care.
Bye. You too.
Bye.
All right. Punt, let's get your show pumped up here. What do you got coming up here next little bit?
Oh, okay. Whoops. I thought that I was getting removed.
No.
Okay, here we go.
I do the removing. I do
got it. Yeah, that's right. You've got the reins today. So a few things that are oh man.
Okay. You got the show, Britt. Go ahead and punch it.
Okay. Oh man, y'all are cracking me up. So let's see what else is happening today. Like Brian said, he's going live tonight, LTL, and tomorrow. I know Steve already mentioned this, but Will the Glarer is doing a 12-hour Karen Reed fundraiser for her defense. It will be going from 12 p.m. noon Eastern time to 12 a.m. midnight Eastern time. So be sure to pop in the chat. Be sure to donate. I'll be joining at some point just to kind of help him pass the time a little bit. Wear your green for St. Patty's Day.
Get pinched.
Yes. And then I don't know, maybe Gonzo's joining too. I'm not sure. I'm
gonna try to jump in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool beans. And then later this afternoon, I'm just doing a little something as an appreciation post for this new face of the Free Karen Reed movement, Miss McKinney Esquire. So
more the better.
Yeah, she'll be great. She'll be at 3, and hopefully I can fix my webcam.
Yeah, dial that in. Do you need me to come over and set it up for you? I just learned a bunch of stuff today.
I mean, if you're willing to make the flight, then
I'll be there.
Yeah, that would help.
Brittany, thank you for coming.
Thank
you.
We appreciate it. It was so good talking with you. And anytime you want to come on my show, please reach out to me. You are more than welcome. My viewers would love to hear from you too.
Well, my people will reach out to your people.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Britt.
Take it easy, Gonzo. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I'm back.
That's how you do it, son.
Look at you. Watch this.
Wow, you just crossed my eyes.
I got to teach you that one.
Yeah.
Boosh.
Well,
was that fun?
That was a good show.
Yeah, good time. Good
Brian,
people.
Always good to have on.
Yep.
He always looks good, man. I need to start looking like that. I need to get a beard or something. Yeah. Well, you got anything, B?
They make filters. We can just use filters to be more attractive.
Oh.
Yeah, I just want to say, put it down there. I'm sure most of you already do, but if you don't yet, Britt Happens. She's got her own YouTube and all the socials. And of course, Brian LTL.
Yeah.
Awesome dude. Both awesome people. Our family keeps growing and I love it. So
yeah. You know what's nice is those free memberships because they get some access to a lot more stuff, right? Or no?
Yeah. Free what? Okay. What the free memberships?
Yeah.
So you said? What free memberships?
I don't know. Don't they give us free memberships? I always see them on the bottom.
Yeah. People in the chat will gift memberships. They'll buy memberships. And whoever other people in the chat will at random will get those memberships. So hopefully they like what they see and they renew. But if they don't, that's cool too. It reminds me that I need to put some more stuff in the membership tab.
Yeah. I'll start recording some more stuff. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate you joining in. It was a solo show with me and producer Steve popping in and out, making believe I had control, but I had no control whatsoever. Good job.
Yeah. The only thing, I think you did a great job. The only thing that is really difficult when you're hosting is to keep an eye on the chat. So I tried to throw a bunch of stuff up on the screen like that. Some
Yeah.
dude named Brian in the chat says, yo, yo, yo. We
How
should
many
get that
is
guy
that?
on. Let's
Two
get that guy on
yo-yos.
next week.
2 yo-yos.
I got him scheduled
right.
for next week. That LB Cops
Well-
guy.
Yep, we'll get him on.
Great job, G.
Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm gonna hit the outro or the end stream. Right?
Make a difference. Like I say, do I do Brian's line? I'll leave
Yeah.
that to Brian. We'll have a moment of silence for Brian. Okay.
Make a difference in someone's life. Stay classy, Las Vegas world.
Always.
Always.
Let's see.
1 Sam 5 and 1 Sam 6, copy of 425 call.
Copy. 1 Sam 5 en route.
1 Sam 6, copy, en route.